What's going on, guys? It's your boy Tom Talks Rubbish, and today I'm back with another AEW Dynamite review. This time for this last night's episode, which took place on the 10th of February 2021. Overall thoughts, guys, I really enjoyed this episode. I am really enjoying the whole cross-promotion, pollination thing with Impact Wrestling, AEW, and now New Japan, because I really enjoyed the main event with Kenta, Kenta and Omega, that is really hard to say, taking on Moxley and Lance Archer. But we'll get into that later. I am really enjoying the whole Inner Circle drama with the revelation, I should say. It's very hard to speak all of a sudden. That took place last night, which we'll get to. I enjoy... What else did I enjoy? And we'll kick off with the first thing I enjoyed, which was the TNT Championship. Darby Allin versus Joey Janela. I'll be honest, guys. I thought this match was going to be high spot. No real story going into this. And jumping in the ring all the time. But we actually started out with some chain wrestling, with Darby Allin getting the better of that to start off with. We then saw some aggressive punching spots, which I really enjoyed. We saw Darby Allin drop kick Janela through the ropes onto the outside, which I really enjoyed. And we did obviously see some dives from both men. I enjoyed the vicious side of Darby Allin in this match, kicking the ropes into Joey Janela's face. Darby Allin doing the armbar, and Joey Janela breaking it with his teeth, I really enjoyed. But overall, the match ended with Darby Allin hitting the coffin drop on Joey Janela to win. Really enjoyed this. Definitely one that if you haven't seen it, check it out. Next, we had a Mox promo, which essentially he's recapping what happened on last week's show, where he was hit with a go to sleep by Kenta. And he's talking about their IWGP US Championship match, which is going to take place soon. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. And he's also talking about the fact that he's now got a team with someone who he once had a feud with, which is something that I really like about AEW. They acknowledge stuff that happens in the past. So we acknowledge the fact that Lance Archer and Jon Moxley fought for the world title a few months ago, but now they're teaming. And we also acknowledged a bit later in the night Kenny and Kenta's past relationship, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, that was it. And then the next segment, we saw Sammy Guevara basically storm into the Inner Circle's locker room and say, "Everyone out, I need a moment with MJF." And then we see him essentially arguing with MJF, and MJF is trying to manipulate him to say that to get Sammy to say that he hates Chris Jericho, so he can record it and obviously play it back for him. And eventually, that leads to the two brawling, and MJF being punched in the ribs, and his phone being thrown across the room. And yeah, this set up some story for later in the night, so it was a fun little segment, and I really enjoyed it. The next match was Cody, Rhodes, and Lee Johnson versus Peter Avalon and Cesar Baloney. To be honest, guys, this was my probably weakest point of the show, so I don't have that many notes on it. But overall, this was a fun match, with Lee Johnson winning with the roll-up on Peter Avalon, I think it was. I can't remember. But yeah, that broke Lee Johnson's losing streak. He is now 29. He is now 1 win to 29 losses, and we later found out he was now signed officially to AEW So overall, enjoyed this, but probably, my weakest point of the night. Oh wait, no, I know what my weakest point of the night was, and we will get to that. Probably my weakest match of the night. After the match, Tony Schiavone interviews Lee Johnson, and we see him essentially say thank you to the Rhodes family for all the training. The Rhodes family are also my family, and I will always protect my family, essentially. Next, we see another backstage segment. Very heavy on segments, this show, so very heavy on storytelling. So I really enjoyed that. With the Bucks and the Good Brothers, and they're talking about the fact that they, the Young Bucks blame the Good Brothers for them being eliminated from the Battle Royal last week, and they were saying, if you hadn't got us eliminated, we would have faced you at the pay-per-view. We would have had the match that everyone wants to see, stuff like that. And they are basically reassuring that their beef, the Good Brothers beef, was with Private Party. It wasn't with the Young Bucks, and they're sorry. And the real people they should be mad at are Santana and Ortiz, who the Young Bucks were actually eliminated by. And that leads to the Young Bucks deciding, you know what, you're right. And somehow we get to, now next week, we are going to see Santana and Ortiz versus, who are members of the Inner Circle. And if you remember, MJF and Chris Jericho, also members of the Inner Circle, are supposed to fight the Young Bucks at Revolution in March. So we'll see that match next week, and we could see, it could go either way, but we could see Santana and Ortiz win the belts, and we see like an Inner Circle match, maybe, but I'm just fantasy booking there. I'd love to see that. Let me know what match you'd rather see in the comments. Would you rather see MJF and Jericho fight the Young Bucks, or an Inner Circle fight? Like, overall, I know what I'd rather see, but let me know what you'd want to see. Another segment, we see Matt Hardy and talking to Hangman Page about celebrating his win at a bar that Matt has rented out for the night. And then, as he says, yeah, let's do it, if it's on your dime, like, sort of thing. And then we see Hangman is walking through the thing, and the analogy I have seen all day, which is a perfect analogy, this segment was basically, you guys know how it is when you bump into your ex-girlfriend when you're with your new, like, partner. Like, this was a very similar, like, cheesy, but still cool, like, version of that, but in tag team wrestling form. And yeah, I enjoyed this segment. We then see Pac basically squash Ryan Nemeth. We see Pac hit a few moves, but overall it leads to Pac hitting the Black Arrow and then the Brutalizer and tapping Ryan Nemeth out. Nothing offensive, nothing terrible, but it didn't really advance anything, but still overall enjoyable. And next we see the Inner Circle talking, and MJF comes up with busted ribs, tape on his ribs, claiming that Sammy attacked him. So, and Jericho's like, where is Sammy? He was like, I don't know. But we'll get to that in a minute. We then saw Jericho versus the MJF and Chris Jericho versus the Acclaimed. Again, I don't have many notes on this match, but still fun. MJF's ribs are targeted, double team moves by both teams, and overall the match ended with Jericho hitting the Judas effect on one of the members of the Acclaimed. I'm really sorry, I don't know their names. For them to get the win. And then after that is when things really started to kick off, because Hager, sorry, I meant to mention, Hager pushed one of the members of the Acclaimed off the top rope, which allowed Jericho to hit the Judas effect to win. But then after the match, Sammy Guevara's music plays, and essentially he cuts a promo saying to Chris Jericho, you know what, I said to you if one more thing happened, I would quit the Inner Circle. And to him, this thing that happened with MJF earlier in the night is that one more thing, and he quits the Inner Circle. Sammy quits the Inner Circle. So I reckon, like I said earlier, this may lead to MJF and Sammy working to get, like, it be revealed that Sammy and MJF are working together. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Like, another good story development. Again, another backstage segment. We then see Matt Hardy and Hangman Page backstage drinking. Like, Hangman Page is getting wasted, but Matt is sort of subtly pouring his drinks away and acting like he's wasted so he can get Hangman to sign one of his contracts. But we then see subtly Hangman swaps the papers and he ends up signing something else. So we don't know what he signed at this point. If we do, and I missed it, please let me know in the comments, guys. But I don't think we know what he signed at this point. And yeah, I am liking this story overall. It may lead to a match at Revolution, but it may lead to a team. I'd be happy with either. This was my low point of the night. Essentially, all I have in my notes is AEW. Please stop getting Tony Schiavone to interview Sting every week. I know he had a catchphrase in the 90s that you want nostalgia to pop for, but it's getting boring now. Essentially, all we saw was excuse me, guys, was Sting come out. Tony Schiavone said that it's Sting catchphrase, and before Sting could talk, we saw Team Taz basically putting Darby Allin in a body bag and driving away with him. Again, all these segments feel very similar. Like, it seems like we see a lot of this throughout the weeks, and it's just getting boring now. But I'm still excited for the match at Revolution. I hope after this we can move on and do something different with Sting. We then saw Leila Hirsch in the first round of the women's tournament. We saw Leila Hirsch versus Thunder Rosa. Because of some technical difficulties, the only thing I saw of this match was the finish. Thunder Rosa winning for the pin. But let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. I didn't see it, but I have gone back to try and watch it, but my Fight TV wasn't funny, so it won't let me. But if you let me know, did you guys enjoy it? And then finally, our main event. Jesus Christ, guys. This Kenny and Kenta versus Mox and Archer match was crazy. Like, we saw Kenta coming out and hitting Mox with his briefcase that allows him to challenge for the IWGP United States title to kick off the match. We saw some moments of Kenta and Kenny not being able to work together, but Mox and Archer being able to, which I thought was cool. We saw Kenta and Mox brawling into the kitchen, and the whole potato thing happening, where basically they were throwing actual potatoes at each other, and Lance Archer broke up a submission hold that Hideo... Sorry guys, I nearly called him Hideo Itami, but Kenta had on Moxley with a bag of potatoes. We saw Kenta hit a... What did he hit? Was it a... a DDT onto the catering tables in the kitchen. I enjoyed that. We saw Kenny Omega chokeslam on Peter Avalon's bed that was at ringside. And yeah, the match ended when the Good Brothers came down. Jake Roberts tries to help fight them off. He hits a clothesline on one of them, which was fun to see. It's always fun to see legends hit a move. But overall, we saw Lance Archer take a magic killer from the Good Brothers because they came down, and we saw Kenny hit the one-winged angel on him to win. So I don't think this damages Lance Archer too much. Doesn't damage Moxley because he didn't take the fall. But overall, guys, if I was to give this Dynamite a star rating... Oh, by the way, at the end of each show I review, I'm going to give it a star rating out of 5. I would give this show a 4 out of 5. Just didn't enjoy it. Like, the Lee Johnson match was fine. I'm really not enjoying the Sting build at the minute because it's so repetitive. And they're just my main qualms with the show. But overall, let me know what you guys thought of the show below. And also, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button because I am so close to 300 subscribers and would love to hit it by my birthday on March 29th. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.